Welcome, 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 everyone, to Two Guys in Hockey Talk. My name is Pawel the Cat with my wonderful visiting co-host or traveling co-host, Evan Renaerts. Evan, how you doing?
Hey, doing great, man. It's been a classic day of trying to actually get work done and still try and keep updated and follow up on what's happening out there. It's going to be a fun night.
It's already begun, and so we're going to get right into it. But before we do, remember we are here every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We are on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, and on X, formerly known as Twitter. We've got a lot of stuff to get through, Evan, because trade deadline's only a couple days away. It's been busy. Last week was crazy, but we have some trades happening. And so Wanderer joins in and said, what has Stan Bowman just done? So just for those who are tuning in right now, because it's been a very busy go of it, we have a trade with the Edmonton Oilers and the Chicago Blackhawks. It sounds like on the way to Edmonton is Jason Dickinson, a forward/center, with 50% retained on his $4.25 million salary, along with prospect Colton Dach, younger brother of Kirby Dach, in exchange for forward Andrew Mangiapane, who we all know has struggled this year and was recently waived, as well as the 2027 first-round pick, which is a conditional in terms of that it's the top 12 protected. Evan, your initial quick and immediate thoughts on this.
The cost of doing business, if you're getting rid of Mangiapane, you can't bring people in unless you get rid of them. The guy has been an absolute disaster. It was the biggest joke. People think Henrique is rough to get rid of. Nurse is rough to get. Mangiapane was the biggest mistake that they made in a long time. As big as Milan Lucic, and you paid to get rid of him and to retain some salary coming back. I like Jaydlin Dickinson. I don't think people realize what that guy can do. So I'm actually good with this deal. The first, they had no choice. They put themselves in the back corner. And getting Dach is not a bad. You're picking up another prospect to fill the back.
100%, but I still think that you still gave up a lot for Jason Dickinson for a third line center.
You're not giving up. You're not actually for Jason Dickinson. You paid to give away Mangiapane, so you had cap, and then you paid for retention.
I still think it's an overpay. I don't know. You could have.
No one else would do it.
Well, then you keep the player and you run your loss, right?
Then you die, man. You die. You're not going to win. If you got Mangiapane and you're not replacing him, Dickinson is like 4 times the player right now than Mangiapane is.
I don't know. I still think it's too much. I don't know if I like this deal. Do you believe that Edmonton and Stan Bowman still have something to do, because they already traded for Connor Murphy? He's going to make his debut. He's a right-handed shot defenseman, has played most of his career with the Chicago Blackhawks, although it was Bowman also who acquired him from Arizona. So he does have some experience, but do we believe that this is what's going to happen? Because apparently the Wanderer says the Oilers had 2 deals on the table for Mangiapane. Must mean the other deal was worse. I agree. The one that I heard was a straight swap for him for Matthias Michelli out in Toronto.
Not
it was going to be a flip, but
it wasn't a straight swap though. They still wanted a pick, and everybody's pushing for the first.
Well, they have similar numbers, so I think it was supposed to be a swap. But that was the rumblings that I heard. So.
Well, we're going to hear. I think after the trade deadline, you're going to hear what the real numbers are coming from Friedman. I'm sure.
All right. So Edmonton, are they done, or do they continue on?
They got one more move.
Okay, and where's that at?
And
forward?
Yeah, it's going to be in the forward. They still need the depth. They'll give them a chance. One more coming this way.
Okay. Well, the team has struggled. They seem to be able to score at will, but they're still struggling in terms of defending. And I think regardless of goaltending, I think the systems have not been what do they need, especially since Homer pause. How am I a homer? I'm disagreeing with this trade. I don't like this for Edmonton. But one of the things with Edmonton is they're struggling to defend. And even with Paul Coffey returning, it's not been good. And Grant says first team to trade it like a first, like Dickinson, but too much, man, seems steep. I agree. And which Dickinson? We're talking about Jason Dickinson. That's the one where not Sam Dickinson, who's also playing in the NHL. But hey, Kyle, hope you're doing well. Boston hasn't done much yet, but we're excited for it. All right, Evan. So what position are they upgrading? It's the forward. And let's talk about the Dallas Stars. They have acquired Tyler Myers from Vancouver. Now he has got one more year. Veteran player, big body, very tall. Clearly, Vancouver's going into pure rebuild mode. There was an offer from Stevie Y and the Detroit Red Wings. I think he was mulling his decisions over, but it looks at the end of the day, he goes there. We heard that Tyler Seguin is now out for the season. He's going to get his surgery. He's really upset, but they've had a little bit of cap flexibility. Do you like this for the Dallas Stars?
It's a great deal for the Dallas Stars. Now they get more solidified on the back end. They go a little bit deeper, get a little bit more toughness, which is what Dallas is all about. So they really lost nothing in this deal. There was time to move on for Vancouver. So I think that this was actually literally a pure trade hockey deal, in that manner. So and then the other part is the Detroit thing has been on the table for a bit. No decisions made by Myers, hence telling us that, hey, Dallas was probably the only place maybe he was going to go, unless maybe he waited it out to the last minute, but they couldn't do that.
100%. So there's quite a bit going on, but I think Dallas needed to do something given that Minnesota had acquired Quinn Hughes. Now, I'm not comparing the two players together, but they need to be able to bolster up their back end because it looks like they're heading for a collision to meet one another in the postseason. Now that could change, but you're still, whether you face Dallas, Colorado in the first round, you're still going to have to face one of those teams in the second round, right? And we know that Colorado has cooled off a little bit, so we'll see what's going on. Lost Trucker said, lost and no sound.
So, yeah. Sorry, I was going to say the Myers one. It is interesting. So. There is future considerations also going towards Dallas. So let's keep that mentioned still. Not just a second the next year and a fourth in 2 years for Vancouver. Vancouver's just loading up the banks for the next years during their rebuild when they get either Stenberg or Gavin McKenna.
And sticking with the Central, because we were off while this trade took place, but a couple days ago, Sam Girard was traded to the Pittsburgh Penguin.
We were off? No, we talked about that last week.
Did we talk about it? I thought it came out a little after the show. Okay.
That was for the Brett Kulak thing. I think it just happened the day that we were on last week.
And then it happened. So we're set there. And then, of course, one of the other trades that has happened is Cole Smith has been traded to the Vegas Golden Knights from Nashville in exchange for defenseman Christopher Seedorf and a 2028 third-round pick. So he's adding a little bit of depth and physicality. What do you make of this trade for the Vegas Golden Knights? And what do you make of Nashville, who's kind of still in it, trying to fight it and potentially maybe, be a wild card team?
I mean, if you think about it, they just let McCarron go. So there's no way that Nashville's thinking they're still in this. They're just being careful. I think that they're still probably I'm hearing they could have 2 to 3 trades still to go out. But do not expect Stamkos to go. It looks like he's just said, stop asking. That's kind of what it's sounding like. So, and Ryan O'Reilly does not really want to go. So unless it's the right fit,
he's earned that right. Yeah,
this is just depth in the Cole Smith thing. It's not going to make a difference for the Vegas Golden Knights either.
For sure. And apparently, Timu's saying big news. Thomas Harley to Detroit. I haven't seen anything yet.
Whoa!
No. That would be big news.
That would be interesting, Timo.
That would be very interesting to see.
Timo, do you know who, if you're hearing
I thought he signed an extension with them recently, last year, didn't he? So
I'm not sure.
I'm going to look it up real quickly here.
He
did last year, October 28, 2025, 8-year, $84.96 million contract with a 10.58.
Is this to sign? Is this so they can sign Robertson? Is that why they'd be letting him go? Because, man.
Why would you get rid of him? Why? Oh, I don't know.
Okay, we don't know. This is just.
No, that was bait. There you go. He's just throwing us out there.
Oh, is that what he's saying now? Okay, Stop it. You stop it. You mongerer. You troll. Hey, this is interesting. So Louis Domingo in Florida was put on waivers, earlier, and then he signed. It's like waivers, and then you sign a deal. At least that's what the information that I'm getting. Like that's kind of weird.
This is why
But,
we have to check our
so,
sources. I was
so,
checking X for a little bit, but I have one more
hey,
to announce, but go ahead.
yeah, go for it, and then we'll talk
So,
about the others.
so the one that just also happened at the same time is Mackenzie Weegar of the Calgary Flames has been traded to the Utah Mammoth. Uh, he waived his no movement clause in exchange for defenseman Ollie Mata, who's been around, kind of a veteran defenseman,
Yeah,
prospect Jonathan Castagna,
yeah.
and three 2026 second
Okay,
draft
so
picks.
how is that actually better when you're dealing with Mackenzie Weegar struggling this year? I know he's a decent defenseman, but 3 second-round picks, and that's Utah. It's not Edmonton.
They have a bunch. They have a bunch of
Yeah,
things.
I get it. Just because they got him in their pocket has nothing to do with it. It has to do that they're going to be 10 points behind where Edmonton's always going to be in the top 5, the lowest 5 essentially, or 6 teams in the playoffs essentially is what you're looking at, going to a conference final more than likely. And so 3 first-round picks for the next 3 years, that could turn into even, like, who says where Utah's going? I mean, that is a high price if you're talking about it, as opposed to unloading Mangiapane, who you can't get rid of. No one picks up on waivers. It's not a trade for Dickinson. It's a trade to retain on Dickinson and to unload the contract that's set for another 2 years yet.
That's fair. I mean, there was what's it called? There's a lot there, but I know that Ryan Smith, the owner there, wanted to take a big swing.
Oh, good for him.
And I think he wants to do something. The surprising thing for me, and I'm sure they asked about it, Craig Conroy, is probably about Tijaginla to play in Calgary. Can you imagine father and son playing for the same organization? Like that would be ecstatic for Calgary. But let's see where it goes. And then, of course, Lost Trucker says that's a lot of capital for Uyghur. I agree. That's a hefty.
And it also, the trade coming down there that just happened about 20, 30 minutes ago was Nashville picking up a 5th round and sending Colorado Nick Blankenberg on defense. Correct. Another depth guy.
So another depth piece that they need. Yeah. Again, a lot of these teams are just kind of, adding or cleaning up around the edges so that they have that extra depth. You always need 7 or 8 defensemen ready to go because it'd be incredible. As a Lakers fan, I can imagine. Ugh, I love the Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers. I love the Lakers. Now, it's been quite a bit. Like we're going to keep reporting for other trades because they are happening. There's a few more days of them. We'll try to get as many as we can for the next few days, you guys. But I did want to talk a little bit, Evan, just about how the season's been so far. Specifically, with Kirill Kaprizov, he at 28 has now set a franchise record for the Minnesota Wild by leading their all-time goal scoring in that 5-1 win over the Lightning. I mean, the guy, he's worth almost every penny. I get 17 million's a lot, and that's not till next year that comes into effect. But he's bolstering this team. Bill Guerin has brass, kahunas. He did it for Team USA, and it paid off. He believed in Quinn Hughes. He got him. I'm sure they're going to try to potentially still get a center. Maybe Vincent Trocheck is out there, which, as an aside, I don't know if you heard his interview post-game about trade rumors and what his son said and how his son said, he's like, well, you can be traded, but I'm not going anywhere because I have my hockey team and I'm still going to be playing for them. It just goes to show the impact that trades have on families. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, yes, I did read about that yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? So I actually thought in that kind of, just around everything.
So again, lots happening, but what do you think of the Minnesota Wild? Can they have a chance to make a big splash this year in the postseason and go far?
Well, they still have room. I'm expecting actually one more trade for them leading in. They're loaded for bear. Bill Guerin is one of those guys. I mean, think of it. This all started with buying out Zach Parise and
Ryan
Gary Suter back in Ryan Suter. I'm thinking of Gary Suter. Oh my gosh. But yeah, going back to those days, like when he started moving everyone out and we're like, how's he live and walk through those times, signing the biggest contract with Kaprizov, not the best player, but actually making the most money, but just they're not going to let him go and they're going to move on. like Bill Guerin should be commended for the work he's done, and I'm looking forward to see how he's going to continue to press through. But I do expect one more good, solid deal, not depth. One more good, solid deal. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but I expect one more thing.
For sure. And some names to keep an eye out. And there's been some rumblings already, although nothing has really gained traction, whether it's Darren Dreger, Frank Saravelli, Elliot Freeman. They've noted a few players that potentially could have been on the move. And that includes Robert Thomas of the St. Louis Blues. And I know Buffalo was interested, as well as Colton Parayko. Although, again, his he has to waive his no movement clause, right? So Doug Armstrong's juggling some things. Jordan Kyrou, it seems like that relationship has soured ever since he signed that big contract. It seems like they feel like it's not a good fit. Justin Falk is out there, a right-handed shot defenseman. Also, they're looking for a first and a prospect. And Nazem Kadri, he's been linked to a few teams, including Montreal and Colorado, right? We love speculation, but it's tough because there's so many moving parts and it's hard to get everything in. But I feel like one of those guys could still move. And speaking of kind of some other players that may not be above the radar or not as sought after, but they still may move, is, of course, Evander Kane. He potentially may get out of Vancouver for a little bit to add some bolster depth up front for teams. I know both Dallas and Colorado have been on it. Jake DeBrusk, not a lot of rumblings there, just, potentially a change of scenery. And Blake Coleman of Calgary, because we know Calgary's kind of rebuilding. They're doing what they can. And the recent one, Evan, and I'll get your thoughts on this quickly, is Jordan Binnington seems like he potentially could move. Now, Bobrovsky is a whole other discussion that we can talk about. But Jordan Binnington, does he finally waive his no movement clause and get traded to a Montreal to potentially contend? And they send one of their young guys, maybe Dobush or Montembeault, out the other way.
The last couple we had this conversation already around the Binnington thing. So this is a foregone conclusion. Binnington doesn't want to sit around with a team that's working on a rebuild, and it is a rebuild. Don't be around it. The other part is Robert Thomas will be gone. They remember, they can always track back to Buffalo. Right now, the deal is dead, but the deal could come back if they're not getting what they want. They are pushing hard. A lot of players like him. Expect a team you never thought Robert Thomas to go in the Eastern Conference. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. So it looks like there could be a lot of movement there. Any other thoughts on the trade deadline? Are you hearing anything? Did you want to share anything? Because I want to jump into Bob, Sergei Bobrovsky out in Florida. But before we get there, I wanted to get your thoughts on everything else.
No, that's great. So, one thing I was going to mention is expect. I know you sent me some stuff you posted on our site a little bit around even the players that. No, actually, you might not post on the site yet, but about Toronto holding out some of their players.
Yes.
So
Larson, and then Bobby McMahon and
Nick Waugh.
Nick Waugh and one other, Scott, and they're playing tonight versus the Devils.
So again, this is just precautionary because of the trades and stuff like that. So expect two of those three players actually to be gone. I know they're still trying to sign.
Scott Lawton is the other one.
Yeah, Lawton. So I expect Lawton and Waugh are the ones that I expect to move out. And still don't count out Toronto and Edmonton in another deal. So that's all I'm going to say.
So I guess what I wanted to get into is Bobrovsky needs what's it called? He needs a new contract. He's helped the team win back-to-back Stanley Cup champions as well as go to the final for 3 years in a row. Your thoughts on Bob potentially and the organization with Bill Zito not being on the same page because he's getting older, 37 years of age. Do we see Bob get moved, whether now or in the offseason, and they go younger, or do they find a number that they're comfortable with and say, you know what, listen, we'll make it bonus heavy. We'll include some other perks. You get to stay here, finish out your career there. We know the owner there is loyal to a lot of the guys. They made the three big names last year, Bennett and Marchand, and who else is it? All work. One other guy that they were able to Evan Rodriguez, wasn't it? That was the other one. So they signed all three guys.
So Bobrovsky, the thing with Bobrovsky is Bobrovsky doesn't want to leave. He wants to sign a contract there. He wants the right money still. I have a little bit of an issue. He's lucky they actually held on to him long enough. I know he helped them win a couple cups, got them to 3 finals in total, 2 wins. But you know what? Bobrovsky has to start looking behind him. His days might be numbered if he's not careful. But I think that they're still going to find a way to get this done. And I don't think he wants to go try to carry out his career and delay it too much longer if he's not going to be in Florida. So if for some reason it something falls apart, then I don't expect him sticking around as long of an NHL career. I would agree that I think that he could potentially be re-signed. They're just going to find a cap-friendly deal.
For sure. That sounds like a good thing. Now, I will ask you, and I think we can all agree, and then you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Do you believe he's a first ballot Hall of Famer?
No.
Oh, really? You don't think
first ballot.
He is?
Too many, especially no. He's had a lot of down years too.
I disagree. I think he makes it. Couple of events, couple of cups, just.
Oh, okay. Let's talk serious here. Okay, let's go back 4 years.
Okay.
They can't trade him. They were going to have to get 50% retention to actually let go of Bobrovsky. He was so overpaid. How can you put as a first ballot Hall of Fame a player that is so bad?
That's not the player's fault that he had a big contract.
No, it's not his fault. It means he wasn't performing for the money that he was making. That's a big deal. No player that goes in first ballot has a year where you go, oh, I don't know if that guy's even worth paying. Can we try to sell him? Nobody wanted the guy. There's no way that you're a first-time ballot. I got that he's picked up and had a good 3 years. But now, what's happened to him this year? He's average, which is fine at his age. But my point being is he had about 4 bad
most games out of any goalie in the NHL in the last 3 years.
I get it. But he still had 4 bad years. And you're asking, is he a first ballot? And I'm saying he's none. I do not think he's a first ballot. And if you look at how many people should have been first ballots, why would he get a first ballot?
So I'm calling he's going to be a first ballot.
Okay, are you calling it because you think they're going to select him, or are you calling it because you think he is?
Both. I think both. I think in the hockey world, he's seen as an elite player, an elite goaltender. Yeah, he's had some down years. A lot of players have had down years. He still can get into the Hall of Fame, and his record is pretty good, right?
Okay, get into the Hall of Fame or first ballot? Pavel, that's a very big difference.
Well, he'll get into the Hall of Fame, but I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's my prediction.
Even though you got 4 bad years.
That's fine.
Oh, it's just like, okay, I'll suck for 4 years. I'll not be able to get traded because I'm so bad. Nobody wants me. But, it's the fault that I signed $10 million. That's not my fault I signed $10 million. That's the team. I don't know. I mean, that sounds like crazy talk.
I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. It'll be interested to see. I'm looking forward tonight. A lot of speculation tonight. It is because that is what we are getting. Speaking of not speculation, Evan, since Lost Trucker isn't digging it, Jim Hiller has been fired by Ken Holland. This is the second time he has fired a goalie or a head coach during the regular season. DJ Smith has taken over as interim head coach. What does Ken Holland and the LA Kings have to do to rectify this season to potentially make the postseason and go out with a bang for Anze Kopitar's final year?
What does he have to do?
Who are they bringing in?
He has to bring in Pettersson.
He's going after Pettersson. You think that that's where that's heading?
No, I'm saying that he wants Pettersson. I don't think they can make it happen. I think that Pettersson is going to be gone out of Vancouver.
We talked about this, and
I think that they're looking that way unless Pettersson doesn't go and it comes to the offseason and the management's gone. Then Pettersson stays. That's kind of my thoughts on that. But I think that Ken Holland would like to bring Pettersson to LA. And there you go. You got your centerman to replace Kopitar. You got Panarin still there. You got Quentin Byfield to stay in that number 2 spot. I think that could be a good deal. What do you send out? I have no idea. 2 first-round draft picks over to Vancouver, and plus something really good.
But that contract, like
maybe they send Clark
Vancouver's
over.
going to have to eat some of that number, that 11.5.
Yeah, but what if it revitalizes him? What if what he needs is a Panarin and a Byfield? What if he needs a different system? I will say they went from Rick Tocchet to Adam Foote. Come on. I mean, all we know is him under Tocchet and Foote. Let's get those two guys out of the way and give him a different coach. Now, that doesn't say much about DJ Smith. And if I can just come back, did I not call this already about Hiller when he got hired? I said it right here on the show, and I said it a few times. I just said, this is a poor hire. No, just the same way I've talked about the Seattle Kraken, and it has nothing to do with me liking or disliking the people. I just don't like his coaching style. Did not think he was the right choice. And I think DJ Smith is a very easy hire right now, but we'll see whether or not he actually is going to stay long-term too, because I could see them moving to somebody else depending how the team is set up next year. If they do something for the trade deadline, make a move maybe they take on Edmonton in the playoffs and take them out finally. And now all of a sudden DJ Smith, they're like, he's good. And they keep him, but maybe they don't. And they say, okay, let's move him out. He couldn't figure it out. Let's go to the next thing.
That's fair. And Timu says Evan is trying not to notice the Bobrovsky comment.
I'm not reading, but so I can't see it.
Okay.
What's the
he
comment?
Said it might be a Luongo thing, or the other one that he sent is it could be like a Jamie Benn. He did 1 by 1.5 or something, but had 5 million non-cap for bonus.
Does that have nothing to do with not reading stuff? I'm the one that said I think that he would probably sign and stick around. He wants to finish there. So
I think he'll stay in Florida, but again, things could change. But I don't think they want him to stay forever. So, yeah. Anyways, it'll be interesting to see. LA, I mean, they got to make it in, but it's going to be tough. The West is kind of a wild place, right, Evan? Like, I mean, beyond the big three, Colorado, Dallas, and Minnesota,
right.
The Pacific is probably one of the weakest divisions right now, if not the weakest. It is bizarre what's going on. I know you talked about Pettersson going potentially to LA. That's a possibility. I know also Steve Yzerman has looked at it.
I was going to say Detroit would be a very good possibility.
And Stevie Y does like term, so that's something that I think would be better. I mean, they have some Swedes there, Lidstrom, which would be very beneficial to him. But I still believe like something's going to move. And as you asked me, I think a few weeks ago, I believe he would be, what's it called? He would be moved in the offseason, not the trade deadline. I think Robert Thomas is more likely to be moved by Friday. But anyways, and Wanderer says, what? He won 2 cups. I agree. I'm saying winning a cup is not an easy feat. Winning back-to-back, especially as a goalie and playing the way he did, and out-battling also your, what's it called, fellow countryman Vasilevsky in that wild series. But what is Tampa going to do, Evan? We haven't talked enough about Tampa and what they could do. They've looked really good in the last little bit. John Cooper, we send our condolences to him for losing his father right after the Olympic break there.
Last year, yeah.
But, yeah, like the team is rolling, and secretly, I think Kucherov is once again making a case for why he should be the Hart candidate, if not winner. Your thoughts on Tampa?
Yeah, Matt, look at Coochie, right? Coochie, coo, look out. Here comes the Hart. If you look at the difference between him and the next player, compared to like whether you're talking about McDavid or you're talking about McKinnon, or now Celebrini could make a big push. It's just that he's never going to win unless they make the playoffs, right? But I still can't see Kucherov not winning it. He just looks so casual and is like lighting it up, highest point per game among all the players. So right now, I mean, I'm going to call Coochie Coo to be the winner for the Tampa Bay Lightning, who I once called would at some point be three-time Stanley Cup, and they never made it. But they got 3-time Cup finalists.
So there's a lot of debate and discussion in the chat about the Sergei Bobrovsky first ballot Hall of Famer. And Lost Trucker says, wonder there have been goalies that have won 2 or more cups, still not first ballot. I'd have to look up who that was. But here's a quick highlight of his career, Evan, just so people know. 2 times Vezina winner, 2013 and 2017. And again, he was with the Columbus Blue Jacket. They were a powerhouse once, but they struggled even to getting out further than the first round. Stanley Cup champion, NHL All-Star, first team All-Star in 2017, ranks franchise goalie milestone in terms of ranking amongst the winningest coaches in Blue Jacket history, and as well as with the Panthers. Over 350 wins and logging usually top 1G, 1A minutes. So, anyways, that's a discussion for people. Go ahead.
Okay, so just did a quick search. Tom Barrasso won 2 Stanley Cups with the Pittsburgh Penguins, 1991 and 92. Had a strong career, won the Calder Trophy, won a Vezina Trophy, was a key part of all those Cup teams. He has not been inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame as the latest available information of last year is what I'm getting. Other players, if you think some groups, I'm just kind of looking in here.
Well, we're looking at goalies.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at. That's what I'm talking about. Do you not know these guys' names?
I do.
Jacques Plot.
Yes.
Ken Dryden had 6 with 2 or more cups. Grant Fuhr with 5. Patrick Waugh with 4. They're in the Hall, and they all got in. But, yeah, Barrasso right now is the only one directly that had 2 or more that I can find didn't make it.
Okay, so there you go. NHL, get on it. Both of these guys need to be in the Hall of Fame.
But I don't think Brasso's not in the Hockey Hall of Fame still.
I mean, Alexander McGillney wasn't in for how many years, right?
Yeah.
Vernon just made it. So congrats, Lost Trucker. I hope you're doing okay on your travels. Safe travels. Again, Evan, it's a good debate, good discussion. We'll have more in the offseason to see where it happens because it looks like Florida may not even make the postseason this year. So they're struggling, and I think the biggest thing would be get healthy, reset, let the young guys play, tool around the edges, and come back next year stronger, right? Because I know they've struggled a lot. Again, 3 Stanley Cup final appearances can take a lot of wear and tear on the body. Not that the players can't play it. It's just it's a lot.
I mean, imagine this: Florida doesn't make it this year. They get a lottery pick, and they're in the top 3 somewhere. They get either Keaton Verhoff, they get Gavin McKenna or Ivor Stenberg, and then next year Barkov's back, everything, and they're back in and they're running for another Stanley Cup.
That'd be insanity. I mean, Bill Zito's not got a son on his hands.
I got a question. If that happens, is everybody going to start getting against the Florida Panthers for manipulating the system? Because it doesn't seem to
be a section of the fan base in the hockey world that
doesn't seem Vegas or Florida, like Edmonton and many other teams up in the north. It doesn't seem like these American teams, when they start winning, or New York Rangers, Lafreniere, they get the lottery pick when they shouldn't have got it. They got Capo Caco when they shouldn't have got it. And even not that they've done a lot of good for their franchise, but they were great teams, and all of a sudden, bang, they get these players. Nobody's changing the rules for them. Interesting enough. That's just a side note.
That's fair. And are the Oilers making it? Lost Trucker asks.
Are they? What do you think?
I say yes. I don't know how far they'll go, but I think they'll make it.
Yeah, I think they win at least the first round. That's all. But hey, it depends right now. Can they do something to solidify the defense and the goalies? I think Connor Murphy, which we actually haven't had a lot of discussion around, Connor Murphy coming in is going to put a stay-at-home. I would, by the way, what Cody Ceci actually helped stabilize Nurse back in the day. Yes. I could see Connor Murphy stabilizing if they get smart. I don't know what KK is doing. That's Chris Knobloch, the way he sets those tandems. Ekholm and Bouchard keep together. Right now, Bouchard is a top 3, and he needs to be in the Norris Trophy.
I agree. I agree. I think it's between him and Quinn Hughes. I agree. Yeah, I like the too, but I think it's between Quinn Hughes.
Werenski right now too. Zach Werenski is right up there, right? So I think Zach Werenski, like as much as people love Makar, if you look at his year, this is not a good year for him. But if you look at the true numbers, like puck possession, if you look at the time on ice and you look at everything out there, Bouchard is not a liability like people. He had 10 to 12 bad games all year.
I'll be honest, Evan. He has some lapses that are visible, and I know people point to them. Here's the thing: when I watched, and I think we talked about this, the Olympics, a a lot of the top guys in Team Canada, as well as Team USA, Team Sweden, they also made those lapses because they're human. There's going to be room for error, right? Things happen. I saw Cale Makar and Jonathan Tays get beat out by Matthew Boldy for that first goal that Team USA scored. I mean, things
Yeah.
do happen. I think Bouchard is able to elevate his game better, and I think he benefits most from Paul Coffey being there. So I've really enjoyed that he's been able to benefit. I think the biggest challenge will be Darnell Nurse. What's happening there now? He does have a family thing where his wife, I think, just gave birth. So congratulations to him. But again, it does impact your game. I know Morgan Riley was affected last year when his wife had their child. I think there's going to be some changes. I'm looking forward to it, and I believe that Bouchard potentially could be nominated. I don't know if he'll win, but he'll definitely be nominated. Go ahead.
Hey, I'm just thinking of some trades still to go. Where do you think Kadri's going, and where do you think Justin Falk's going? Because I think those two for sure, and Robert Thomas somewhere is going to go. We are uncertain where. Where do you think though? Kadri's already been open to it. I can't see them. If they can make a deal, they're going to make a deal and move on. So who do you think is a potential pickup for those two players? Defense and
low key, I think Nazem Kadri goes to Colorado because
they got no money.
Well, no, they should have some money because they would get rid of a player. The name that I heard out of Colorado being potentially traded out back in trade, and again, it's not all the pieces, is Valerie Nichushkin. I think if they those two players, that could be there. Right now, I don't know how feasible or likely that is. The other one is, I think, either Buffalo or Montreal, because these are the active teams, are going to do something. Another team that I think also could bolster their line up front, and they've been really good, although goaltending is their biggest key issue, is the Ottawa Senators. The Ottawa Senators are going to try to do something here. Now, they're more likely looking at the back end with a right-hand shot defenseman. I know they looked at Uyghur. Maybe Justin Falk is where he ends up. But I really believe that that's kind of the team that goes there. And I really believe that for Robert Thomas, the trade that I heard potentially could be going to Buffalo. And I think Buffalo, given how exciting it's been for them, good for the fans for having something to cheer on, potentially making the playoffs finally after 13 years. I think that's Jarmo Kekalainen is going to try to do something there. But your thoughts?
So I think the two teams to look out for just before we get off the trade stuff is look to, there's another player, a couple players, Trocheck, we've already talked about him last week and into this week. Carolina could be a fit there. That could be a potential. Bobrovsky, if he did make a move, Carolina could be a fit. Edmonton is potentially, it sounds like, on his no trade list, by the way. Vegas would be an opening place that he could go to. Again, I don't know how they would get the money because you're going to have to move some stuff out. I know it's the end of the year, so the numbers aren't as high. But look for Carolina. Carolina could be a team even for Robert Thomas. It's not a lot of talk around it. But Carolina, Trocheck, something along that line, and or even Bobrovsky going that way, and they have some space to make it happen. And I wonder if Chicago's not done yet, and they take on somebody's player for even more, and a player that might have a little bit of term. I could see they're not going to retain anything more, but I wonder if they could do some more.
Timu says they're getting Thomas, and then he'll play second line and have 50 points. I don't know. He's a very underrated, excellent defensive center. So a perfect 2C. I would agree there. But again, he can put the puck in the net. He can create plays. So it'll be interesting to see. Is that everything on the trade front that you wanted to discuss?
Yeah, I was just waiting for something else to come in. I'm waiting for someone on the East here, but I'm not getting anything back. If I get it, I'll bring it back.
So the one team I wanted to bring up, because they haven't really been around a lot of rumors, and maybe I understand why, and they feel that they're set, is the Washington Capitals, Evan. We know that this may be potentially what's called Alexander Ovechkin's last season. We don't know. But they recently re-signed Ethan Frank to a 2-year, $2 million extension. He's a two-way forward, and he's pretty good. He's a speedy guy. He's got 15 goals and 15 assists in 76 career games with the team. He's 28, so at the prime of his career. Your thoughts on the Ethan Frank signing?
I think that it's just another depth, right?
Okay.
This is just what we're dealing with
What
here
does
on
Washington do? Do they make a splash still, or are they sitting pat?
That's who I'm waiting in on right now. I got some stuff out there, so I'm trying to see, what we had later. I had a discussion last night,
There,
so I don't. Give me a little bit to come back to this.
for sure. Speaking of a team that's in the same division, the Columbus Blue Jackets, ever since making the change, head coach change to Rick Bowness, the team has really performed very well. Now they're still only sitting fifth in the Metro, so they're kind of out of a playoff spot looking in. But I mean, the team has been flying. We talked about Zach Werenski and how elite he has been. But can this team finally go on a bit of a tear and get into the postseason and have a heck of a maybe showing in the playoffs, and really surprise some teams? Because those teams that get really hot at the end of the year, close to the end of the season, usually have that momentum that can go into the postseason. Your thoughts?
You would hope. You would hope, right, that Columbus can finally make some moves here. What a tough year last year after losing Johnny Gaudreau. Go back into this season. This is a team that's been trying to press forward. I'm shocked how quiet things have been. But I know Yarmo is being very. I think Yarmo, is that where Yarmo went? No, Yarmo's in Buffalo.
No, Yarmo's in Buffalo.
Who's running the show there? I for a minute I've forgotten. I haven't checked in there lately.
For Columbus?
Yeah. The show.
Okay.
Boy, that's terrible. So I should send out something to Mark Shag right now and see if he's got something maybe he can give me. Oh, okay. So Washington. You want to look up, see who's
it's
in
Don
Columbus?
Waddell. Sorry, Don Waddell, who came over from Carolina.
That's it. Okay, yeah. Yeah, well, Waddell, I'm shocked that he's a little bit more quiet. There you go. Thanks, man. So these are in the Washington area right now. Looks like they're kicking tires around Trocheck, which would be weird. That's with New York, right? But hey, you know what? They're out of the playoffs.
Trocheck wants to stay in the East.
So, that could be why, if they're going to move them with it. So I did not know this. They say they're kicking tires on Kadri. So that is an interesting one in Washington. And Robert Thomas, they just think that he could be considered a big fish for them too. And it's pricey, but would they consider Elias Pettersson? So that is another one, it looks like. And then outside of that, they could be sending someone like Cole Hudson out, their BU standout, and someone like Trevor Van Riemsdyk. And, of course, the possibility, I know he's injured right now, but John Carlson. It'd be surprising to hear that actually happen, but it is a possibility. So anyway, that's kind of what there's. Oh, Jordan Kyrou. That's one of the ones that they feel would fit right now too, that you're kicking.
Okay. Yeah.
So those are all the names and stuff. We're going to find out.
A full rebuild for Alexander Steen, who takes over as GM this offseason, and have a fresh start. So it'll be interesting to see. And before we wrap up, I wanted to get your thoughts on Kyle Dubas and what he's been able to do for the Pittsburgh Penguins, because they're still in a playoff position. Of course, Sidney Crosby's injured, but he should be back soon. Your thoughts on potentially the Pittsburgh Penguins and what damage they could do, because Kyle Dubas has really restocked their cupboards. We talked about Sam Girard earlier and on the previous episode. They got a bunch of picks in place. I'm hearing Stuart Skinner's name out there. And yeah, there's a lot.
By the way, everyone was all excited about Skinner and his numbers and stuff. And now his numbers are about the same as they were in Edmonton all of a sudden. It changes pretty quick. I just want to tell Edmonton, I know Jari hasn't looked good coming back from his injury. I thought he looked okay before his injury. But definitely they're going to need a goalie whisperer in Edmonton, because right now they have to outscore opponents. It gets tough. But so you got to say, I mean, he's still going to get something for him. Like you said, they got Girard. They picked up Shinnikov. So I'd be shocked. I don't know much that's out there. It doesn't sound like, again, the only other player, because of the East thing, is Trocheck for Pittsburgh to look at. with Dubas. I could see Dubas making a move on a player like that. He could gel well in these last couple of years. And Boston Bruins, and I might say his name wrong. Was it Matthew Poitras?
Yeah,
Poitras? Yeah,
Fortress.
yeah. So that would be the other one. But I know this sounds weird, but the one name that I've heard that people have been asking about and calling is Anthony Mantha, actually.
Okay.
And I know he's done well on their power play, but I don't know what they would be looking for to move him out. But Dubas has quietly done okay.
Yeah, he's helping the rebuild go quickly. He did his job. Go ahead.
Just a heads up, all my devices are dying. I've been in. I'm just so you guys know, I'm out. I almost stopped in front of the home of the Abbotsford Canucks to be able to let you guys see the arena, because I'm actually working out in the Vancouver area. So I was downtown Vancouver, well, actually Burnaby, New Westminster area, and so I was just made it back 7 minutes before the show. I was going to stop there, but all my devices are dying. So if at any point I just drop off, I've had no time to plug in. I have no time to do it even right now. So if all of a sudden I drop off, Pawel will either finish the show on his own or he'll just end it early. So just a heads up. I'm concerned.
Saving it for a high note. All right. Well, we're going to get to a little bit of Around the Rink. Around the Rink has been brought to you by Flow Hockey. If you're looking for extended, great, youthful hockey, go check out Flow Hockey. And Timo says, so go charge it. So good advice, Timo. There you go. All right. I wanted to get to just a few little things, and then I'll let you take over. We talked about the Detroit Red Wings, where their prospect, Michael Brandseg-Nygaard, he was named AHL Player of the Week after a strong stretch with the Grand Rapids Griffins. We know the Grand Rapids Griffins this year have had a phenomenal run. They've been almost unstoppable. But he's got 5 goals and +3 rating over the last few games, and he's helped secure a postseason spot for them earlier than most AHL clubs can. So good for you, Michael. It's going to be hard to see how they're not going to be usurped, because that's how good the Grand Rapids are. I am very sure that Stevie Y is very happy with how his prospects have been developing there. And again, a lot of them have been able to transition over quickly into the NHL and help that team. Again, Detroit looks like they potentially could end that drought, and the NHL is a better place when they are in the postseason. And we love to see Dylan Larkin, what he can do, given what he was able to perform at the Olympics for Team USA. And speaking of other prospects things, the 2026 CHL USA Prospects Channel is coming up. It's a premier junior hockey showcase heading both to Quebec City and Chicoutimi. I apologize if I mispronounced that. For an event on December 1st and 2nd at the George Vezina Center and Videotron. The 2-game pits the top NHL draft eligible players from the CHL against the U.S. national team under 18. It's a great place for scouts to go check out some of the best young players, and often can be a predictor of your draft success and draft eligibility. So we'll see what happens there. Any thoughts to that, Evan?
No, I'm actually looking forward to it. I think this is going to be a great opportunity to hear and see them actually make a different change and a move for the prospects game.
For sure. Yeah, it's always a great time. I'd definitely like to go check it out if I can. And Evan never speaks of Liga or NL or DL. Wow, I feel disrespect.
Okay, what would you like to know around those guys? So one of the reasons are, Timo, and you can correct me on this, because I am not good with saying the Finnish names of the teams, and then Pawel just rips me afterwards. He's much better at that, being a guy who actually has a little bit of a better enunciation with those foreign names. But hey, so Tapara, is that how you say it, Timo? Is actually leading with strong defense and offense out in that section area. They have a great season already that they're just pulled out. And now it's interesting. I call him Kuvola. but they're called the Cuckoo Cavola. Is that right, Timu? Let's just see if I'm getting it right. So it's putting out there. They are hot on their heels. So that's some of the stuff that's happening. One of the things that I think has happened is so many of the players are now coming over earlier. And because they're actually coming over earlier, we're not hearing about some of those same players. And right now, some of the prospects, we're not getting a lot of information on the prospects because they're not in my top 15 a lot of times right now. Whereas in years past, we have had guys really high up there. So generally speaking, that's one of the reasons, and a lot of people don't know much. But hey, you know what? Next week, after this trade deadline's out of the way, I'm going to dig a little bit deeper. You can send me some good news that makes sure I'm accurate, Timu, and I will get that out there as well. What was the other one that he was asking about for information?
About NL, Liga, NL, or DEL.
Oh boy, yeah, okay. Well, you're right. I need to spend more time. But when you weren't on, we did spend early in the season. Pawel would back me. We spent quite a bit of time about talking about, especially in the DEL, and so we did cover some of those games. I'll just say that. But there hasn't been a lot of interesting news. So again, if you got some interesting news that would be different other than who's actually in which spot, I'd love to be able to hear it.
For sure. And Lost Tracker says Flo removed SHL games from the program. Boo hoo hoo. Because all she can find is highlighted stuff, which makes it difficult to actually see what they do when it's not a highlight.
CSN, I just found this out yesterday. I didn't know. Ivor Stenberg, he just won the Champions League. They just had their game, and I did not know they were playing it on TSN yesterday. I sent a note out when it was happening.
100%. And guys, if you're listening, we do our best. We do have full-time jobs, but we do our best to follow every single league, at least the highlights. I have my favorite writers and insiders in different areas on X/Twitter, and so does Evan. And we try to reach out and see, okay, what's the latest, what's the greatest, what's happening, and that's a good way we kind of get. Evan has a job. What happened and what happens in the KHL? So there's not been a lot of KHL news beyond playoffs gearing up here. What I did want to talk about before we get over to any final thoughts you have in around the rink. Grant Fuhrer, who you talked about earlier, he was actually honored for his earlier junior career as a standout netminder with the Victoria Cougars in the CHL. He went there in the 1979-1980 season and earned the WHL Rookie of the Year honors and a first-team All-Star nod after recording 30 wins and leading them to the league final. He then backstopped that team, the only 60-win team in WHL history, and he posted 48 victories and a league-leading 2.7 GAA. He was the WHL Goaltender of the Year and in his second straight all-time selection. And then, of course, he won the WHL championship, outdueling his later Battle of Alberta goaltender Mike Vernon, and at the time the Calgary Wranglers in a 7-game series. So it sounds a little bit like hockey history, but it is also a little bit of around the rink. So again, go ahead.
Let me just hit in on the KHL because I did have some news I wanted to mention. So Chicago is beaming right now for next year with Kantersov, who is playing for the number 1 team right now. So Metalburg Magnuskorf, because I can't pronounce it right. It's always called Metalburg.
Bravo.
So essentially, the 21-year-old, and he is playing extremely well. People are excited. A lot of people think that you could be looking at Bedard with Frundell and him next year. I don't know if that would happen. I think putting 2 rookies with Connor Bedard, I think Ryan Green has done really well in Chicago with him. But and then the goalie actually is another New York Islanders goalie they drafted. His name is Dmitry Gazman. And he is Gamzin, sorry. And he has actually had a really good season up to date so far. He was just recently goalie of the week here now for the first time, even though he's had some really strong outings previously, but other players have played really well. So some really exciting news. Avangard is a team to look out for right now in the KHL front. So there's your little bit of news, Timu.
There's this. And Timu, I am not a Flames fan. I am a hockey fan. I love all teams. So I have my teams that I follow more closely, but yeah, I am not.
Who said you were a Flames fan? Did someone say you?
Yeah, Timu said. is Mr. Cat a Flames fan? Because I've
Oh.
Ginla jersey behind me. I talked about Mike
Yes,
a little bit and the trade with Mackenzie Weegar. So that's pretty much what's been going on. And that's been Around the Rink.
Actually, I found that funny because Timo, you're saying you looking behind you. So what often happens, we bring a guest on. We're talking about the Islanders, an Islanders jersey. Pawel probably has about 20, 30 jerseys. We collect them from all different places. I have jerseys that might be BCHL. And I don't have a North American Hockey League one yet. AHL, ECHL, KHL. I like to get a legal one. Maybe if you can send me one, Timu, I will place it behind me. But then even
it's not in that room.
But anyway, yeah. So that's the reason why. And for those that aren't sure, that's what Pawel's talking about. We have teams that you enjoy watching and liking. We really are about two guys in hockey talking, covering all. It's just that sometimes you have different contexts that know more people. So what are people saying in the comments? I can't see it right now.
Says, yeah, I'm not paying €100 shipping. Nice try. What, you can't order Amazon or like order in Edmonton? Come on.
Well, I figured that if Timu wants me to have one, then Timu can pay for the promotion. I got to
you live in cornfields in Alberta. Sorry, I interrupted.
That's all good. That's all good, man. So,
well, we're getting to the end. We're getting to the end of the show. We're wrapping up here. We're gonna not try to go overtime. So, what are some final thoughts you wanted to share with us, Evan, after this busy week of hockey?
Yeah, I am still looking forward to seeing what comes down. There's not going to be much on the line come this next couple of weeks, but prices are high. People better get that. And people say, well, there is something better out there. You guys have no clue what you're talking about. Better? What makes you think that there's better? And if they don't actually do better, whether you're whether you're Dallas, whether you're Vancouver, whether you're Edmonton, you know what? The prices are the prices. Right now, I know some people call it a buyer's market because there's lots available, but it's actually a seller's market, and they're getting higher prices than they normally would because there's not enough to grab onto your teams. Edmonton is in a kind of a rough spot. You know that players are going to move out. But Blake Coleman, did he get traded yet? That's one of the names.
No, not yet. No, okay. He had a long discussion today at practice with the coach.
Okay, so check. I actually realized I thought he had moved. I had a text sent out earlier from someone that I had reached out to early this morning on Blake Coleman. So they must have sent me something, and I have to look up my text here. I haven't had time to do that. So I will do that and see if there's movement. I will put it on my X, or at least what's kind of looking at going. So look for Toronto to make a lot of moves. Look for St. Louis to make a lot of moves, and look for more action out of Nashville. And then, well, hey, apparently maybe even Harley got traded.
Jimbo, Jimmy Neal, Jimothy. Speaking of highlights in the game between the Detroit Red Wings and the Golden Vegas Knights, it looks like Dylan Larkin has a sustained head injury from a cross check. He kind of awkwardly went into one of the Vegas players. So he's gone down the tunnel. He's being looked at. So we'll be interested to see. We wish him all the best because you hate to see it. He's probably in concussion protocol. Yeah, there's going to be some fun trades. It'll be interesting. We'll do our best to report them throughout the week and weekend and just how things are. And then we'll kind of do a dissection by next Wednesday. Because remember, guys, we're here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We are on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Instagram, as well as Discord. Feel free to go check us out. We want to have a website that you can go check out our articles and former guests on, and our partners. We appreciate partnering with us. And if you want to partner with us, just feel free to reach out to us at twoguysinhockeytalk@gmail.com. That's pretty much it on my end, Evan. I'm looking forward to the trade deadline. It's going to be fun. There should be high prices, but here's the thing, Evan. Sometimes standing pat can also be a good option. And if you don't do something, I'm looking at you, Washington, I'm looking at you, Columbus, and you go with what you have because you believe in that room, sometimes that can also pay off. And then you still have that pick. But again, It's all a matter of perspective and what you believe your team is meant to do. Is it cup or bust? Is it just make the postseason? Is it retooling or is it rebuilding?
You know what? And I wonder if it's you just bust the cup trying to make a trade. I don't know. Folks, it's been a ring a ding dong dandy, but as we say every week, in the meantime and in between time,
keep your sticks on the ice. Stay safe, everyone. Have a good night. Cheers.